Hello, everybody. Welcome to AZ Security for a new episode. My name is Dylan Paardenkoper, and today we're going to talk about security settings management from Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. And today I have a special guest, and that is Wesley van den Heuvel. Can you shortly introduce yourself, Wesley?
Yes, sure. Thanks. Thanks, Dinan, first for having me, and very excited to be here. So I will introduce myself. The name is Wesley van den Heuvel. I'm from the Netherlands, obviously, with a Dutch surname. I'm a tech lead Microsoft security consultant for Advantive, managed service provider in the south of the Netherlands. And I assist the customers with all kinds of security questions related to the Microsoft security ecosystem.
Yeah, I can totally agree that. Also on LinkedIn, you ramble about security all the time.
Yes, correct. Yes. So I like to talk about security a lot. I like to share security a lot. So yeah, that's what I like to do. I like to share information, keep up to date with all the stuff that's going on regarding Microsoft security, and keep on learning, but also keep on sharing with everybody.
Cool. And are there specific Microsoft products you like the most or working the most with?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think the topic today is about Defender for Endpoint. I think that's the security product that I like most. I think it's the beating heart of the Defender stack. A lot of cool features, and of course, it's intertwined with other security solutions as well. But to me, yeah, Defender for Endpoint is the security solution that I like most.
Cool. And for today, I have to read it again. Sorry. Security settings management. Wow, that's a
Yes.
mouthful. Can you tell
It's a
us more about it?
mouthful. Yes. So I'm not quite sure if there's an official abbreviation for that, but yes, I wanted to discuss this specific topic. It's a quite new feature, and it basically allows the customer to manage endpoint security policies completely centralized for the endpoints that you are managing within your environment. And it doesn't really matter what kind of operating system it is and where the actual asset is being managed. So it can either be a server that's being hosted on premises or in the cloud, onboarded with Azure Stack. So lots of possibilities, and this basically allows you to manage the policies completely centralized.
That's a nice feature. At least people can be everywhere, right? If they're on
Yeah.
their laptop, mobile devices, or the smartphones, security must be
Yes.
there enabled, right?
Yes. Totally agree. Security by design and default and whatsoever.
Definitely. Zero trust, right? Zero trust.
Yes, zero trust. So what I did for this session is that I used a slide deck from Microsoft. So this is officially a slide deck from Microsoft that explains all the features of Defender for Endpoint. But we have a small session, so I'm only going to discuss this specific topic. And then we will have a small demo as well that I prepared in my own tenant so I can demonstrate this solution feature as well.
Nice. Well, I give you the stage.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're seeing your screen.
Okay, great. Um, of course, we first need to briefly explain what Defender for Endpoint is. And as you can tell from the site, it has a ton of features, but it's a security platform from Microsoft that is basically designed to help organizations to prevent, detect, investigate, and respond to sophisticated cyber threats. And it has a lot of really nice capabilities as outlined in this slide. So vulnerability management, attack surface reduction, and all the other features that are shown in this specific slide. But for this specific session today, I wanted to talk about this really tiny icon that you see below, centralized configuration and administration. So we're going to do a small deep dive session, and then we will have a small demo as well.
Yeah, you mentioned it is a small thing, but I think it's one of the biggest issues if you're looking
Yes.
to companies, right?
Yeah. I completely agree. So the landscape is changing, and the pace is pretty high. But obviously, we need to manage everything, and that's what I'm going to explain in my next slide as well. We have different kinds of teams that are responsible for everything, for the administration part, the operations part, and what you see is that it's causing a lot of friction. So historically, as this is what we see now in many IT teams around. So there's the security team, and obviously they are responsible for security monitoring, reducing risk, analyzing threats, follow-up security incidents, managing vulnerabilities. But they also need to define security policies, obviously. And on the other side, there's the IT team, but they need to manage their own things as well. And what you quite often see is that the IT team doesn't always, it's not always necessarily the case, but they're not feeling always responsible to do the security things because, yes, security is not always that fun to do. But eventually, it must be managed. So when, for instance, you need to set up group policies on a Windows server, and you need to deploy Defender for Endpoint on it, but you also need to push all the configuration settings to that specific server. That's something that you must do to make sure that the Defender for Endpoint agent is properly configured, and it basically is able to detect a response to cyber threats. So
Yeah, just enabling is not enough, right? You have to do
no,
more.
yes. Unfortunately, I speak to a lot of customers, and often they think that is the case. So we just need to deploy the Defender sensor, and that's it. But obviously, that is not the case. You still need to configure a lot of stuff to make sure that it's properly behaving as it should. And that is the issue that we want to fix with this specific solution. So Microsoft is currently also working on unifying the security portal. So there is the Defender XDR portal, but you also have the Microsoft Sentinel portal, and it's currently being converged into one single portal so that you have a single pane of glass. But for policies, this might be still an issue because there's IT teams that still manage policies in the on-premises environment, and the security teams are not able to see that information.
No, not at the default, right?
No, and like I said before, the security engineer just wants to have access to one single portal and be able to manage everything from that portal. And if you need to give them access to on-premises environments as well, you're adding risk, and that's something that we want to prevent. And therefore, it's better to do everything from one single portal.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That makes life easier.
Yes, it makes life easier in terms of roles and responsibilities. It's also way easier to define who's responsible for what and what management console is being used to actually achieve this. And this slide basically explains what will happen when you are going to use the security settings feature from Defender for Endpoint. So if you would enable this, then you will have one single portal to basically manage all security settings across your devices. It supports multi-platform. You can streamline policy management, so no longer fiddling with still group policies. Eventually, we'll want to get rid of those as well. And it allows the security engineer or administrator to manage everything from one point of view. quick introduction how the onboarding works, and I will demonstrate this as well in a demo, because the first question probably that comes to mind is, how can you manage a server, for instance, that's only AD joined, that has no connection to the cloud, it's not onboarded to Azure Arc, for instance. I think that's a solution that you work with as well, I think,
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, there are still use cases which is in hybrid form. Yeah, as you mentioned.
Yeah. Yes. So I think last year there were some changes regarding the requirements for Defender for Endpoint, and there was a shift towards Defender for Cloud. But not all organizations are ready for shifting completely to Defender for Cloud yet. So this is, I think, also a reason why they introduced this feature. So before you are actually able to make use of this, you still need to onboard Defender for Endpoint. So there are multiple solutions available to actually onboard that server with Defender for Endpoint. Unfortunately, that's something that you need to do before. So you can use group policy or via SCCM or Defender for Cloud. But next to that, the management aspect is obviously still very important. So once you enable this specific setting, a device will be created with an Entra ID, and they specifically call it a synthetic device. And based on that synthetic device, you are able to manage this device. And this overview basically explains what happens, and I will showcase that in the demo as well. What's important to know is that the device, so when the customer, for instance, already has an Intune environment, it will still report back to Intune as well. So therefore, sometimes you will have a hybrid situation. So the Intune administrator, for instance, will still have access to the admin policies as well, but the security engineer can also manage it from the Defender portal. So this overview basically explains what management channels are available once you enable this feature. So it's still available via Intune. If the customer is still using System Center Configuration Manager, you can still manage it via that as well. But it will send policies simultaneously, I think, from both management engines. There's still group policy, obviously. You can manage via PowerShell. And in some cases, it even supports third-party mobile device management.
True, yeah. There are still others as well.
Yes, I can't quickly think of one, but yes. So in some cases, there's a third-party mobile device management. What is important, though, is if that is the case, and let's say, for instance, there is already an Entra ID registered device within your tenant, you need to remove it because otherwise the configuration will not properly work.
I can imagine two captains on a ship, right?
No, that's something what you want to prevent. Correct. Okay.
Cool.
So this is a slide deck that I think introduces this feature very well. We are making it brief. So eventually, if you want to test out this specific feature, obviously the Microsoft Learn page is available, but you can set up your own lab as well. And just go ahead and install Defender for Endpoint and just learn along all the way. And I think that is the best way to start learning this specific feature. So yeah,
Cool.
let me switch to the demo.
Of course.
Slideshow.
We want to see it in action, huh?
Yes. Okay. So this is my very own tenant. This is my security portal, and this is normally Yeah, your homepage as a security engineer. So if I start working in the morning, the first thing that I do basically is go to this specific portal and start from here. This
I
is a
normally
very
get
known
first some
portal.
coffee, but
Yeah. I agree. First some caffeine, and then we get some caffeine and energy from working with the security solutions. Intune portal, obviously also a very known solution for Intune administrators, where you can manage your own policies as well. So for many organizations and administrators, this is a fairly known portal. And like I mentioned in the slides earlier, there's still group policy. So yes, you can still manage a lot of Defender aspects via group policy. But in my opinion, there are some limitations. So what do you need to do to actually achieve this? So obviously, you need to go to the Defender for Endpoint blade within your security portal. And there's a configuration management blade that allows you to enable this feature. So it's really not that much for work. You basically only flip this switch. And from the Intune end, we go to the Defender for Endpoint setup as well. And you basically are doing the same. So I'm not quite sure if that's the correct term, but we are basically setting up a trust between Defender for Endpoint and Microsoft Intune, allowing them to exchange the security policies. So
can,
within the
can it
Intune
also
environment,
be Wesley on one side only? I mean, it
no,
looks like you have to enable it on two sides, specific.
yes, I think it's required because we need to take into account that, for instance, the Intune administrator will only have access to this portal because
All
that's
right.
his home ground, and the security engineer should only have, in terms of least privilege and stuff like that, should only have access to that portal. So I think that's the reason why it supports BiSync. How it under the hood exactly works, I don't know, but I think that is the reason why you need to enable it on both sides.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Very clear.
Yes. After you enable this, you need to determine on what kind of operating systems I want to enable this, want to deploy this. So you can determine whether you want to do it on Windows clients, Windows Server devices. They made a specific group for domain controllers, Linux devices, and macOS devices as well. And if we scroll down a bit, you can also determine whether you want to enable it for Defender for Cloud instances. So let's say you onboarded a server via Azure Arc to Defender for Cloud. You can manage those as well. And you can flip this switch for Configuration Manager as well. So you can determine what you want to enable, yes or no. In this specific case, I would always recommend to start small. So what you can see in this specific overview is that you can basically test this feature by setting a specific tag on a device. So if I would go to my asset overview, so this shows the device inventory of all the devices within your environment that are managed via Defender for Endpoint. You can see in this specific overview that I have onboarded two devices. So the Windows 2005 server is a server that is AD joint. So sorry, it's not even AD joint, it's workgroup only still. And this is a Windows 11 device that I deployed via Autopilot. If I go all the way right and I go to the column managed by, you can see the distinguishment as well. So this one, the below one, is managed via Intune, and this one is managed via MDE, which means via Security Settings Management.
Nice.
So what I did is you onboard the machine first via Defender for Endpoint. Eventually, it will appear in this portal. And to test this feature, I set this specific tag. So I did this manually. Eventually, you can determine after you piloted and tested this specific feature to deploy it across the entire organization. But I always recommend to start small. So once I set this tag, basically security settings management will kick in.
One question in the meantime. If I enable the MDA, how long does it take when it appears in your window? Is it 5 minutes? Is it 10 minutes? A quarter?
It depends.
More
There
or
are a lot
less.
of requirements. Yeah, more or less, it can be a few minutes. So
Okay.
Defender for Endpoints has quite some recommendations. So when you start with Defender for Endpoint, I always recommend to read the latest documentation and the requirements as well. There are some network requirements and such. And what's really cool is there is a client analyzer available for Microsoft as well that you can run to basically test the health of your specific server, where you can determine whether it's Defender for Endpoint ready. So let's say for some reason the onboarding is not working. You have logs available, obviously, but that client analyzer can help you as well. And the MDE security settings management deployment itself or activation, I think, can take a bit longer. The reason for that is it first need to create that synthetic device within Entra ID. That takes some time. And one thing that's also really, really important, when customers, so let's say you have an existing Intune deployment, your policies are currently scoped to device groups, you need to relook at them as well. Because let's say you have a device group that's all devices, you want to prevent that from happening if you start this new deployment. Otherwise, your Intune policies might be deployed to your servers. So, which is mentioned in the deployment docs for this specific feature as well. So what I did in this overview, I created specific device groups, for instance, for these servers. So I created a dynamic group. And in the dynamic group, you can specify device management type equals Microsoft Sense. And that is the attribute that you can use to distinguish the fact whether a machine is managed via Intune or via security settings management.
Nice. Yeah, it's always great to have distinguish possibilities.
Yes.
Text is very helpful. Yeah.
Lessons learned. Unfortunately, this happened to us. So we were testing out this feature and didn't take into account that, if you have policies that you created earlier and you assigned them to the device groups, all devices or whatsoever, there is a possibility that those policies will land on your servers. So please don't do that.
Thanks for the tips.
Yeah. So I think on a final note, what does that mean for the security administrator? So obviously the security engineer or administrator or analyst can now create those policies from this console. So you can select here Windows Server, for instance. There are multiple templates already available, and I think there will be more templates available in the near future. But all those templates that are available here, these templates will allow you to push these settings to a server, for instance. One other tip, and that's the reason why Microsoft has a specific device group for domain controllers. Scoping firewall policies is currently not, I think it's either supported or recommended. because there's a risk when you manage firewall policies via Defender that the firewall issues will maybe create issues and that you will not be able to connect to your domain controller anymore. So Microsoft specifically recommends to not enable firewall policies via this solution on your domain controller.
I can imagine that can go wrong.
Yes. So yes, you want to prevent that from happening. But yeah, I think Microsoft made some great improvements to this solution, because when it was introduced maybe 2 years ago, the recommendation was also to start small, but existing servers, for instance, needed to be hybrid joined. And that has a huge impact, and it takes a lot of amount of work to basically achieve that. And yeah, hybrid joint systems, I don't know what your experience is with hybrid joint machines.
Where do I start?
Yeah. So based on your so I think this is great. Like I showcased in this small demo, it doesn't take that much of a work to achieve this. No longer hybrid joint requirement, and everything is now shifting to this single portal. And also in terms of change management, and you no longer need to burden the security of, the security administrator no longer needs to burden the IT administrator. They can do the things they are good at, and we can do the things that we are good at. And of course, you still need to share that information. And when you are flipping a specific switch, you need to inform the IT administrator that you are making a specific change, also the other way around. But yeah, I think this is a very good feature that was added to this solution. And I'm happy with this feature.
I can totally agree about that. I mean, it doesn't make sense to give them more privileges, nor less in that case. And as a security engineer or an engineer at all, you want to have the power and the tools to do your work, basically.
Yes,
And
correct.
I'm happy also with those changes, not only on Intune and on Defender for Endpoint, but also on Azure Sentinel, on Microsoft Sentinel and the other XDR products, which finally integrate in one unified control plane, so to speak. Make it easier, as you mentioned, also for a little bit of hunting if you're more into that. And just simplifying one place to search, basically.
Yes, I'm extremely happy with that. Too many portals, too much. Yeah, it's not workable, and I'm really happy that they are unifying things. There's granular support as well. So if you have large security teams who only, for instance, need access to endpoint security policies only, you can manage that as well. So least privilege is also really possible with the unified Airbox solution as well, but that's maybe a different topic that we can discuss later. But yeah, more things are shifting to this portal. And maybe a fun fact as well. This was really not that long ago announced as well by Microsoft. I think it was a few days ago. Is that the management aspect of endpoint security policies is now also available in the multi-tenant Defender solution. So that's currently being enabled as well. So yes, a lot of cool
it's
things.
The MTO naming, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's mto.security.microsoft.com, and not the multi-tenant organization feature that you have in Entra ID to allow cross-tenant sync, I think. So it's another abbreviation that has the same name, MTO. But yes, so if you're managed service provider and you want to manage multiple customers from a single pane of glass, there's multi-tenant Defender as well. It's mto.security.microsoft.com. I think you can, it's basically like Azure Lighthouse, but then specifically for the Defender stack. So it's Microsoft Defender XDR multi-tenant management. Another cool abbreviation by Microsoft.
Maybe you like to come back and explain MTO for another time?
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds
cool.
good.
I want to thank you very much for your great demo, also for your explanation.
Thank you.
It was great to hear, and also for answering the questions in the meantime.
Yeah,
and
really happy to be here as well.
Yeah, great to have you here on the show. And I don't know, any last thoughts you want to share? Otherwise, we're going to wrap up.
Yeah, just security never ends, just keep learning, keep improving, and maybe a good tip as well. So what I often do, and that's the reason why I ramble a lot about Microsoft security. Microsoft is really putting effort in the what's new section. So they update those sections a lot. So what's new on Defender for Endpoint, Defender for Identity, and whatsoever, and that allows me to keep up to date. And I would also recommend people to become a member of the Microsoft Security Connection Program. It's an internal program by Microsoft, and in that specific community, you will be kept up to date about everything that is about Microsoft security. And it's a really cool community, really cool people. So if you want to know more about Microsoft security, obviously watch this podcast, watch the YouTube channel from Dinan. But yes, I would recommend to follow the Security Connection Program by Microsoft as well.
Cool. Thank you very much. Once again, I want to thank you. And
you're welcome.
For everybody at home, thank you for listening, for watching. Hopefully, we can invite you back for the next time. And for now, I would say take care.
See you. Bye-bye.
See you.